Many attempts are made by the food industry to keep consumers safe, and although there is no perfect system, those systems already in place work best when all parties take the necessary precautions. In this series, we outline one such precaution that is often overlooked by both the restaurant food services and by the general public. Here's one thing you should never do at a fast food restaurant. Hairnets, gloves, hand sanitizers, masks, all attempts for the food and drug industry to keep contaminants from making people sick. As a microbiologist, I can attest to these attempts as valid and reasonable approaches, if executed correctly. This means that careful consideration should be taken to avoid contradicting these attempts. For example, hairnets work only when worn on the head. Aprons should not be worn outside of the kitchen, and hands should be washed upon entering the kitchen. The list of precautions to take is endless, so it's no surprise that many are overlooked or left out entirely. But some precautions are so gravely overlooked, it's a wonder how some restaurants pass inspections. This segment targets one disgusting practice in fast food restaurants that can very easily be ceased. The primary goal in the food industry should be cleanliness and keeping contaminants away from foods. A great start to this is to only have clean things come into contact with the foods whenever possible. Though there are many unclean things in the kitchen, knowing how to address them is the first approach to sanitation. At times, unclean delivery drivers routinely pass through kitchens as they bring in ordered supplies. And if the drivers themselves do not enter the kitchen, many of the supplies they bring do. In factories and warehouses, there's an abundance of particles that come into contact with product packages before delivery. Usually, plant workers aren't too concerned about this occurrence, as they expect common sense from the staff when the items reach the kitchen. They expect that kitchen staff will be pre-informed about food contamination. So food sanitation cannot be trusted simply at the manufacturing level. We must expect it further down the line. Apart from the usual contamination during manufacturing, there will often be some degree of unsanitary practice affecting foods or its packaging. One such practice leads me to the topic of my next discussion. For some items, the outer package should not come into contact with our food. For example, in restaurants, workers from every shift rifle through the same bin of condiments to provide for their customers. Frequently, condiment packets fall onto the floor. How clean are the workers' hands prior to digging for the packets? And more importantly, what happens to dropped packets? Many times we get packages of condiments and it's tainted because the package broke open or because something else leaked onto it. Microorganisms flourish whenever they can, wherever they can. The air is riddled with them, waiting to land on a fertile food source, like a sticky ketchup packet, a very suitable home for microscopic organisms. Then, why? Why do fast food restaurants continually throw ketchup packets into our bags of food and directly onto an open order of fries? Why don't they put it into a separate bag? Putting it at the bottom of the bag is an effort, but still, if food falls over in the bag, we're back to the start. In short, it doesn't matter why a ketchup packet is contaminated, because all dirt is unwanted, whether from manufacturing, storing, or just from package damage. Contamination is unavoidable. Still, regardless of the contamination, throwing ketchup packets into our bags and onto our fries is definitely a careless, unsanitary practice. It's surprising how few people have noticed this thoughtless, backwards approach, which should be discontinued. So the one thing to never do in a restaurant is ask for ketchup in the bag.